Bo Barbarella with the College of Knowledge, a Saturday show. Um, Going to do um, favorite top 10 drummers and favorite top 10 keyboardists and pianists. And you can tell by looking at me and you can tell by my voice that I'm sick. So I am not going to do the chat. Um, I'm going to have Mark Kropka and Chris, both from the College of Knowledge, and they will, do the show for me. Um, I didn't want to cancel this because this show was actually requested by um, by some people that follow me, and you know, I don't want to let people down. So let me just wait for people to get on. Because if you remember last night, I was coughing and all stuff, and I thought it was allergies. Ugh, it's not. I got a full blown cold today. Full blown cold. So, so it should be a good show because, like I said, it's going to be drummers and um, pianists and keyboardists combined. Um, Top 10, and really doesn't have to be in any specific order. Just 10. And I didn't even make up a list, so I definitely can't participate. But let me get my co-host to come up, and um, I'm gonna be watching. I'm not gonna be on stream. Um, but if anybody wants to come on, um, then I'll put in the link and you can join the chat. So, let's see what's going on. Okay, here's Easy Street with Jen because Chris is going to do it. And Jen is going to kind of um, be like a co moderator. And if somebody wants to join, um, she can text me and I'll get on the computer and I'll put a link because I think I'm the only one who can put in a link from this channel. I don't know. Yes, okay, yeah, I'm going to be sitting on the sidelines too. Okay, so here is Chris. You know him, you love him. He is one half of the um, Jen and Chris team on the College of Knowledge. Hello, sir. Thank
Hello,
you
hello.
thank you so
How's
much
my
for
volume?
coming up. Thank you so much for coming up. Yeah, because you can hear how I sound.
Yeah, it sounds rough. Sounds like you need to get some good rest.
I've
And
been sleeping pretty much all day, and
okay,
plus I look like hell. Because there's no sense wearing makeup when you're sick.
hmm
Hello, Addie. Addie, would you want to get onto the chat, Addie? Yeah, Addie, I'm just sick. I just have a cold. Um, they're doing top 10 drummers and top 10 keyboardists and pianists. If you can come up with 10 because we're waiting for Mark to come up, and then what I'm going to do is I'm gonna like make myself sort of like mute and just put in a icon of something. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh Miss Addie, you're still with your little kittens. I think that's great. That you're taking care of them so much. That's wonderful. Because what we do when we have little kittens like that, we'll go buy some mother replacement milk and feed it to them, like a syringe in their mouth. I hope you're doing something like that. Okay, so let me call Mark. Like I said, I didn't want to disappoint people because a couple of people suggested that we do this, and
you're adhering to that standard of the show must go on.
yeah.
Yeah.
If worse comes to worse, I'll stay on. Say if Mark can't do it, or I can't get a hold of him.
Hopefully Mark's feeling
Yeah.
okay.
Hello, Mrs. Hopkins. Hello. Waiting for Mark Kropka to come up so that Mark and Chris can do the show for drummers and keyboardists. Yeah, I know that. Yeah. I mean, I feel better now than I did this morning. So, let me call Mark.
Sort of sitting here trying to be convivial, but it's hard to do spontaneously.
Oh yeah, I know.
I tend to rebound against other people and just go back and forth.
Yeah. Hello, Mark. Are you going to come up? Okay. Okay, yeah, because I'm not feeling good, so it's going to be you and Chris that are going to be doing the show. Oh, it's just a cold. I think the time that I got bit, by that saber-toothed snail, I think, that's why I'm sick. Well, yeah. Yeah, yeah, because that snail, I never, thought a snail had big teeth, but this one did. So, okay, yeah, Mark, come on up, so you guys can start this. Okay, 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 cool. Okay, yeah, so Mark is coming up.
I did hear a story on NPR about the giant African snail that is trying to be eradicated from Florida.
It's Newport Richie that they're in.
I know in your neck of the woods. It's I understand that they'll crawl up the side of a house and they'll eat the calcium out of the stucco of the house. And you think about how many houses in Florida have stucco as a building material. It's not going to be good for them.
What are snails doing eating stucco?
There's calcium in there, and they feed off the calcium. So, and they they eat crops and vegetation and such. So they're a real pest. And okay, all right, we just reconnected you back there, but yeah, I guess people would keep them as pets or get illegally import them because they're not supposed to import that particular creature, but they do. and then they release them, and then just like the pythons, they just go out of control because they have no natural predators in
I mean,
Florida.
and those things are big. Have you seen how big they actually are?
How big are they?
They're probably the size of a bottle.
Really?
Yeah.
And they have a virus that can cause meningitis in humans, so you
I
can't even eat them. I mean, at least if they were edible, that would be a straightforward way
to
to
get
put
rid of
that
them.
in check. They're not like
Okay.
escargot. You can't cook them in wine and garlic and expect to be okay after that. So
Oh, and that reminds me of a scene from the movie The Jerk when he's in like a fancy restaurant and he says, "Wait, waiter, there are snails on her plate." You would think that in a fancy restaurant like this, they could keep the snails off of the food.
I've had escargot, and it's a wonderful excuse to eat butter and garlic.
It's
They're kind of chewy. There was a scandal in France because there were restaurants that had the temerity to put just mushrooms, tough mushrooms in the shell and use and sell it as escargot. And
oh
of course,
wow, really?
so they got in trouble because they weren't, they said they were selling you snail and they were really just a tough mushroom covered
Okay,
in
I'm on
butter
this
and garlic.
thing. Okay, Mark is up here, so um, okay, guys. So it's going to be you two kind of doing the show, and like I said, I'm not going to do it because I'm not feeling well and I look like hell. Jeez. Um, yeah. See, and and so women know the magic of makeup. So, okay, it's going to be um, top 10 drummers and top 10 keyboardists. I guess maybe do drummers first, and then keyboardists, pianists. And they don't have to be in any sort of special order. Hello, Miss
Mhm.
Bebe. Oh, baby, I'm not beautiful today, that's for sure. No, I don't, Carrie. I don't. Ugh. Okay, so if you guys want to get on, I will make my. I don't even know how to make myself smaller.
Hi, Bimbo. Hi, Chris.
Hello,
Hey, Mark, how you feeling today?
I'm good. I'm great. How you
Good,
doing?
good. I'm doing well. I had a very lazy yet productive day. I got the critters next door tended to in the morning and in the afternoon, and
oh yeah, your
just
cat lady.
yeah, it's that five hens, one rooster, and two cats. So when they go out of town, I
Oh,
help
wow.
them out and keep their critters alive, and it's not hard,
I
It's
and I mean, what did she call you like one morning at like 7 o'clock in the morning?
She will text me early sometimes, and like just a day or two before. The last time I had to, she wanted me to come over, and I had to say, we were in Florida at that time, so we couldn't scoot over, but she had someone else to cover. But just no, I'm happy to do it. Her husband helped me. The We had a clog up of our septic tank, and he came over at 9 o'clock on a Sunday to help me unstick, to clear out a septic tank. And, neighbors like that, you really want to help because,
Sure. Oh,
that's a,
yeah.
that's a friend in need and a friend indeed if they are willing to do that. So they're both great
Oh,
folks,
yeah.
and they have two little girls, and, they're living their best
That's
life.
really
But
the way to be. We try to be that around here too. Help a neighbor out when a
mhm.
neighbor needs a hand, something. Especially when
And it's
you spread the know-how out. Everybody knows a little something about something, so you can usually figure things out, right?
absolutely it's kind of a lost art. I don't think people are as close or connected to their neighbors as they were 20 or 30 years ago. And it's a shame because, I mean, those are the folks that are going to help you or be able to help you in a pinch or in a dire situation, and vice versa. So it's a good thing to do, but it's also in your self-interest to know who your neighbors are and hopefully cultivate a good relationship with your neighbors. So, all righty, I think we can
Definitely.
go ahead and get cranking here. I did rank mine. I've got like 3 honorable mentions, and I've got a 10 to 1. I think we'll just go straight from 1 at a time, 10 to 9 to 8, and we'll roll up our choices here.
Are we starting with drummers or keyboardists?
Yeah, we're starting with drummers. Let's see.
Okay.
Now for number 10, I printed out my list, but I didn't expand the font here. I'm going to be staring like that a little bit, but for number 10, this might be a little bit of a controversial choice simply because of some of the music he created as a solo artist, but his qualities as a drummer are outstanding. Phil Collins. He did great drumming with Genesis, of course, and I don't think there's a better, of all the drummers on my list, I don't think any of these other drummers can sing and play drums at the same time as well as Phil Collins. So, and he's been an influence on so many other drummers. So he gets my number 10 spot.
I'm trying to
What's your
change
number
my
10?
avatar.
Interesting, yeah.
I'm trying to change my avatar, but I don't know how to. I see where it says to do it, but it's not doing it. The avatar, when I turn off the camera. No, I can't turn off the camera. Alright, so.
So what's your number 10, Mark?
My number 10, his drumming is looked at maybe not technically the most strongest of drummers, but his contribution to rock and roll and some of the beats that he composed. I'm talking about Ringo Starr. The beats that he composed for some of the most big star songs in the history of rock and roll. His contribution cannot be denied.
Mm-hmm. He wrote some great songs for the band. He replaced Pete Best, and
That's right.
George Martin felt they needed a stronger drummer to support the band, and Pete was unceremoniously pushed out of what would become the most important band of the 20th century. I don't know how you would cope with that, but no, Ringo
He tried
Starr
committing suicide at one point.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, that's a tough.
And then he came
that's a
to
bitter
terms
pill to
with
swallow.
it. Now he has a band.
Good, and you figure he could. Hopefully, he made a little money writing a book about his experience. I mean, to be that close to stardom and have it all evaporate,
I know.
that's tough. But no, he was one of my honorable mentions. I mean, along with Stuart Copeland and Mitch Mitchell. I don't know if they're on your list, but those are great drummers as well.
Okay, and what is Ringo Starr's real name?
Stanley.
No.
There's something
Zach
with a
Starkey.
No.
Zach Starkey.
No, Richard Starkey.
Richard Starkey. Yeah, I kept
Richard
coming
Starkey,
up
his son is Zach Starkey. That's right.
Okay. Let's move on. I'm going to go to my number 9. Bill Bruford from Yes, monster drummer. Alan White could easily made this list too. I could put Bill Bruford and Alan White both in that list. They're both stupendous drummers. Both worked with unusual time signatures. Very solid backing of the band. So I give the nod to Bill there, but Alan White could just as easily have been on this list or even higher on this list. What's your number 9?
Yeah. My number 9 is Ian Pace from Deep Purple.
Hmm. He has he's a little higher up on my list, but he's a monster. He's great. What drew you to his
Definitely a
drumming style?
monster. I mean, I always compare every Purple does to the one album, the album "The Smoke on the Water's" on.
Hmm.
I forget what it's called now. The name slips me.
Machine Head.
Machine Head, yeah, that's correct.
And just the drumming in that album is phenomenal. The work that he does is and to keep up monster players like John Lord and um, who's the guitarist again? Our buddy there.
Oh shoot,
Man, everybody's name is slipping me tonight.
Ricky Blackmore.
Richie Blackmore, yeah.
Sorry.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
yeah, I think Ian Pace did everything on an 11. I mean, his snare work was very intense too. You know, what was that other song I was thinking of? Highway Star. There's several others. It just, yeah, I mean, very intense, dominant, hard drumming style. I mean, he kind of was one of the greatest hard rock drummers ever. So
yeah,
that's a
or
great.
I think I always think that snare, the hi hat work at the beginning of Lazy.
Mm-hmm.
My cat is done here. The
Yeah.
it's just a great opening.
Mm-hmm. Great work by him. My number 8, and this is a lesser known drummer, but he contributed. He was a studio guy who was on a lot of albums. He's mostly known for his work with Steely Dan, Bernard Purdie. And musicians know who Bernard Purdie is. He created the Purdie Shuffle, and you'll hear that on a couple of cuts from Steely Dan, but also "Fool in the Rain" by Led Zeppelin borrows that shuffle. Just a solid studio guy. He influenced a whole lot of other drummers, and just a top-notch studio drummer who contributed a lot. But are you familiar with his work? You're familiar with those songs, but I don't know if you've ever heard of him as a drummer.
I am. I was just hearing of his own shuffle though. That's interesting.
Yeah. Look up Purdie Shuffle on YouTube. You'll see a lot of it. It was reused in a lot of different songs. I don't know if it didn't make as many appearances as the Amen Break, but it kind of it took a life of its own and kind of added to the vocabulary of rock drumming. So you're number 8.
Well, my number 8 is Dave Grohl from Nirvana, and I think he did some drumming with the Foo Fighters.
Foo Fighters, yeah.
I think he alternated the drumming.
Mm-hmm. What typifies his drumming style? Of course, I've heard his work with Nirvana. He didn't seem to be like the focus of the band, but his drumming was always solid. What do you think is kind of distinctive about it or compelling about his drumming style?
Just that he didn't make mistakes. That the beats that he chose to use were always appropriate with the song. I think that I just like his style. I always liked his style of playing.
Yeah, you're torn in a list like this to whether you should reward the drummers that have the greatest virtuosic capabilities or the drummers that actually serve the song the best, and that's often by not drawing excessive attention to themselves. So drummers can be great at either of those roles. It's just a matter of, are they in the right place in the right band, creating the right music for whether they're like a lead drummer versus rhythm, versus someone who's keeping a rhythm for the band. It's either one can work, but sometimes, yeah, you don't know which is the better thing to reward in terms of a reputation of a drummer. So, but no, yeah, Dave Grohl, he's definitely been, made a contribution. Probably influenced a lot of later drummers that are more contemporary than, like on our list. We're kind of definitely stuck in the 60s and 70s on our tastes. But which brings me to my number 7, which is Ian Pace. I mean, for all the reasons we've already mentioned. So, who's your number 7?
Mitch Mitchell. I have to mention him just to keep up with Nodding and to keep up with Jimi Hendrix.
He was no slouch in that band, and he had some great intros to songs.
That's true, he did.
Let Me Stand Next to Your Fire. I mean, his intro to that song was quite good, I think. He's doing all these drum fills. But no, he was the backbone of that band. And in a 3-piece band, you really have to be on because there's nowhere to hide. When you have 3 or fewer band members, every individual's contribution is out in the fore. It's not like being a rhythm guitarist in a band that has 6 or 7 people. You can hide a little bit, but you can't when you're in a band with just 3 people or 2 people. So,
True. To hire anyways, but in a 3-piece band, you stick out. Like if you any mistakes, you stick out. I was just listening to. You ever heard that cut? Blue Suede Shoes by Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, I've heard his cover of it 1,000 years ago. What was? I can't remember the drumming in that song, but yeah, I'll have to check that out. Yeah.
It's got a really good beat. He sets the beat at the beginning of it, and it's an offbeat, and it
okay.
But it's a great song. Their version is really good.
Shoes. I'm gonna write that down here.
It's got a neat video with it too. If you catch the video where they're dressed up in psychedelic clothing and they're going down the streets of some town, and they're trying out the food from the vendors, patting babies' heads, taking pictures with old ladies, that sort of stuff. It's a good video.
Sounds cool. Were they in London or somewhere else?
It looked like London to me. I didn't want to say but that's what it looked like. Some streets of London.
Yeah, Jimi Hendrix coming to London, he came at just the right time when London blossomed into this coolest place on earth for a moment. It was right when Jimi Hendrix came in.
Yeah, it did.
And then the British blues artists came to fruition. It's like that magic moment for that city. But let's see, number 6. I have to confess, I'm not as familiar with his work, but what I've seen is absolutely astounding. His technical ability is just through the roof. Mike Portnoy, he was the drummer for Dream Theater and many other smaller project bands. But he was the second youngest person to be inducted into Modern Drummers Hall of Fame at the age of 37. And his technical chops are just absolutely outstanding. Are you familiar with Dream Theater, Mark?
No, I'm not. I haven't listened to. I've heard of them, of course, but I haven't had a chance to get around to listening to anything by them. It's heavily progressive, is it not?
Yeah, they are. And I've heard snippets here and there, but I've never listened to any of their albums all the way through. But they're a very solid band.
Yeah,
They've
me
been
too.
around for many, many years. This is a lesser known band that I should explore, but yeah, I mean, his technical prowess is just astounding. Just monster player. What's your
Right,
fifth? What's your
I'm
number
gonna check.
5? Okay.
Is Board.
Oh wow, yeah, Bill Ward. What band was he with? That
Again,
band?
his contribution over the years to the beginnings of that type of music that they created, and his input into that has to take a certain amount of musical aptitude, which he has, and I think that he has shown that he's a really talented drummer, just to keep up with the rest of the band.
What band was he drumming for? His name's so familiar to me. I can't.
Black Sabbath.
Black Sabbath. Oh, I couldn't dredge that up. But no, he didn't get the attention that he deserved because, well, when your frontman is Ozzy freaking Osbourne, you're not going to get much notice. I mean,
Yeah,
Tommy Iommi
true.
didn't get much attention relative to Ozzy. So, but no, I think his drumming was solid throughout. You know, he backed up that band very, very well. Let's see.
Yep.
Let's roll on with number 5. Got to go with Charlie Watts, Stones. I mean, he just a legendary player. He incorporated, you know, he kind of had a jazz grip in his drumming. His music, he really contributed. You know, he was the drummer and he supported the band. He didn't draw a lot of attention to himself, but great rhythms. I mean, great. He kind of a sparse style, but solid. I mean, he just an influence to so many other drummers too. So, you know,
he didn't make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
You could rely on his drumming to be there and doing proper beat. He for a real pro.
There was a great story. Charlie Watts, he was kind of insulted by Mick Jagger, and he made some reference to him as my drummer. And it's some point late in the night. He showered, got dressed, put on his shirt, his suit and tie, went over to where Mick was staying, and knocked on the door. He answered the door, punched him out, and left.
Punched him in the face. Yeah, that was in the book.
Yeah, and then somehow they managed to work all that out later. But yeah, he wasn't going to suffer fools gladly. Yeah,
no,
that's tough guy.
That's an interesting story, and I think Keith Richards told it in his book, Life, or Life, or whatever Keith Richards book.
Keith is a legend. We're all kind of amazed that he's still with us, but
yeah,
great. Who's your number 5?
He just gave up.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Mason.
Oh, yeah, from the Pink Floyd.
From Pink Floyd, yeah. Again, for all the same reasons, you know, he was drummed for some creation of some great sounds he created with that drum kit, and he contributed. The thing about Pink Floyd is the timing of their music. It's just perfect. It's just not only are the notes, you know, technically on and played in their proper order and sequence, but their timing is just really makes the songs.
Think about Dark Side of the
I'm working.
Moon. It starts, ends with those heartbeats, and you know, and then the idea of time. That's a theme that goes through that album as well. So you know, and you know that intro. So I mean, his
Yeah.
work kind of theme on that album particularly well. So yeah, solid drummer for sure. So it's a great addition. So number 4 for me is going to be Ginger Baker. He was amazing
Ah,
with Cream and his own bands. He helped introduce the world to Fela Kuti, which is, of course, you know, I'll always be grateful for. But you know, he explored African rhythms later in his career. But he was just, and also he was like the archetype of the insane drummer, kind of larger than
he sure
life.
was.
And he did great solos. Have you ever heard the solo Toad?
Toad?
Yeah, the name of the song is
I
Toad,
have.
and it's
Yeah,
yeah. I mean,
I have heard that.
that's a great solo. That's one of the early rock solos that was on an album. I mean, I think before then, I don't think you heard much in the way of drum solos. Like the entire song was a drum solo. I mean, there must
No,
be examples, but they're not mine.
I think remember back in the 70s, it was a regular thing where every concert, every band there would always be a drum solo.
Right,
I don't
right.
think they do that much anymore, but that would
Mhm.
be a given. A
Well,
20-minute drum solo, 15-minute drum solo.
every rock and roll show, especially if they have a great drummer, should have a drum solo in the middle. Because number one, it's cool. Number two, it gives all of the bandmates a chance to go to the bathroom in the middle of the set. So,
That's right.
uh,
Go and do their lines.
and right. You know, if they need a little nose candy to get through the rest of the set, that's another opportunity
Mark,
for.
Mark, and who did you have after Bill Ward?
He had Nick Mason.
Okay, thank you.
So. So my number 4 was Ginger Baker. Who's your
Yeah,
number 4,
okay.
Mark?
I picked Levon Helm.
Yeah,
I'm a
very,
big
very
fan of
talented.
Levon Helm. Again, for his contribution, his style, his ability to sing and play those and drum at the time and do it well. There was a famous I think it was a heavy metal uh, guitar player. They asked if drummers should sing, and his
Mhm.
answer was no, drummers shouldn't really sing and play, except for Levon. Levon can sing
Yeah,
and
yeah, up on
play.
Cripple Creek. I mean, you see his
I think
rhythm. That's a bit of a shuffle beat, and then he sings very smoothly over that at a slightly different tempo than what he's playing. So that's an example of how good he can drum and sing at the same time. I like
how to
that
do
guy.
it. Yeah.
So my number 3, again, we're getting into not just monster ability but personalities too. Keith Moon. Nobody
Ah,
played drums like Keith Moon before, and when everybody plays like him, it's so obvious that oh well, he's just playing like Keith Moon. But he did drum fills over the vocals. Who does that? Only Keith Moon.
that's right.
But you know his contributions on Who's Next and Quadrophenia, the Tommy, just amazing. It's just there was
Yep.
no drummer like him. He was from outer space. Moon the Loon.
And I
What's your number
agree.
3?
That's why I picked number 3. My number 3 also is Keith Moon.
Okay, we got
Not
a
only just for
got a tinker there.
his on stage drumming abilities, but also for his off stage antics. He kept things
Mhm.
pretty colorful in that.
I was feeling better, but now I'm sick again.
Oh goodness. Hopefully, we haven't made you sick by any
Sorry
of
to hear that,
our
Bimbo.
aesthetic choices.
No, oh, Keith Moon.
Yes, Keith Moon gets a number 3 pick for both of us. This is interesting. Now we're getting into the final two.
Oh,
I'm thinking, I don't know, we our order might be transposed. We'll see.
it really doesn't matter, Chris.
Yeah, it's my number 2.
I think
I gave the nod to John Bonham. I mean, just you hear his thunderous intro to When the Levee Breaks.
He would have been my two as well.
He just absolutely just crushed it, and so many great examples of his work. I mentioned before he did Fools in the Rain. He incorporated the Purdy Shuffle in that, but he he had a great solo in Moby Dick, but always a solid contributor to the band. And just his style influenced 100,000 drummers. I mean, every drummer who liked John Bonham bought, the drumsticks that were like this big, and they just had to use those huge sticks and just hit the skins as hard as they possibly could. But no, he was precise too. So just, I don't know. A lot of ink has been spilled on how good he was as a drummer. So
Sorry that I'm not keeping up with the right side chat, but Addie likes the Carpenters. Oh, jeez.
yeah, Karen can actually play on his she played some drums.
Yeah, she.
Have you ever heard of a band called The Rivals?
No.
No, who are they?
They're an
They
up and
must be
coming
from
band.
Canada.
They're from down in the States, and their drummer, he uses huge sticks. He uses like lumber, 2x4 for his sticks, and just beats the hell out of the drums.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's something very primal about using huge sticks and just beating on the toms. Just need the snare to the side, and just go boom, 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 boom. The toms and the bass drums. So yeah, Stuart Copeland was famous for not using snare so much and using the other drums more. But
And he
Keith
was in the
Moon
Police,
didn't even
wasn't
hardly use snare. He didn't even keep it where most people keep it between your legs.
mhm.
He kept it off to the side, off to the upper left.
Wasn't Stuart Copeland in the Police? Chris?
Yes, he was the drummer for the Police.
That's okay. Okay, so Survivor Girl says somebody named Hal Blaine. Never heard of Hal Blaine there. Oh, SG.
Of who?
Hal Blaine.
We've reached a Wikipedia moment.
That one doesn't ring a bell.
Okay, where's the
Hal Blaine.
historian? Where's the historian?
She's in the background.
Okay, Mark, so
Let's
what's your number 2
see.
here?
My two is Bonham.
All right, so we were on.
I have a few last three here. We're going to see eye to eye here, Chris.
Right. I think so.
Okay.
I'd be very surprised if we didn't.
And I'm going to tell you who your number 1 is. Each of you is Neil Peart.
Yeah, this. How could he be denied the top spot? Just
That's
so
right.
precise, so creative, such a great lyricist.
Oh yeah.
He experimented with all
Never made
kinds of time
mistakes.
signatures. Yeah, he was a metronome. I mean, you just could. I mean, so many great solos, so many great. His work on 2112, and just it goes on and on and on. He was, yeah, I mean, he was voted the best. He was the youngest person to ever to reach the Modern Drummers Hall of Fame.
And when I
On and
saw
on and on.
and when I saw Russian concerts, I could not believe how big his drum kit was.
No, elephantine. It was great, and he had two of them. Basically, he had a huge circular platform, and
Yeah,
so he would play on a series of drums, and that was in front of him. And then when it was trying to do the drum solo in the show, the platform would go 180 degrees, and he had an entirely new drum set to do the drum solo on.
Wow.
His drum kits got bigger and bigger.
okay, that
Alex
was
on Such from Van Halen would do that too. He had just these enormous drum sets, but that's a rock and
um,
roll
yeah. Okay,
trope
guys,
too.
that was good. There were some good answers, and you know, because I know that I would probably picked every one of them except Bernard, because I didn't know about him. Um,
Yeah.
I actually know who Mike Portnoy is, and I have Dream Theater, and he also performs with a guy, Neil Morse. And he
Okay.
drums with Neil Morse. I would have put Mike Portnoy higher, but and I would have put Keith Moon like last, just because I don't
Well,
like him.
if in terms of technical proficiency, I would have put, Mike Portnoy about 1.5 millimeters below Neil Peart, but I wanted to give some weight to impact into the culture and the
And
strength of the
and
band as
plus,
a
and,
total.
and plus, Chris, if you've never really heard all of Mike Portnoy's work, it's hard
Right,
to judge.
right. I've heard just tiny little snippets here and there, not
Okay, so
full
Mrs.
albums.
Hopkins says Mick Fleetwood, yeah, okay. Um,
Solid. Yeah.
Rob Afuso from
There's a good
Skid Row.
honorable mention.
Oh, oh,
Mhm.
oh my God. Bill Rieflin from Ministry. And you guys know the band Ministry, right? Oh, with Al Jorgensen.
Heard the name, not familiar
They're
with the music.
they're like very heavy industrial.
Hmm.
I actually like Ministry a lot too. Dave Lombardo with Slayer. Tim Alexander with Primus. Okay. Dave Abruzzese. I don't know. I'm not a Pearl Jam fan. Mrs. Hopkins, so I wouldn't know that. Jimmy Chamberlain from the Smashing Pumpkins. Yeah, okay. Matt Cameron from Soundgarden. Yeah, somebody said Dave Grohl and Stuart Copeland. Yeah, okay. Mrs. Hopkins, you had a very. I especially like your Ministry. Oh, Bill Rieflin. You guys need to listen to the Ministry.
Chris LeClaire says Tommy Lee, Motley Crue. He did get a lot more credit than I thought he was going to get as a drummer.
I mean, because he really wasn't bad. I would say out of all of the musicians in Motley Crue, Tommy Lee was probably the one with the most talent.
Mhm. Probably the most serious musician, the one who knew most about music.
And 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 SG says Slipknot drummers, yeah. Oh, Slipknot, yeah, but don't they have like two or three drummers? They have one guy drumming, one guy just like on like drum percussion and stuff. Yeah, they've got a. Okay, Tainted Love, thank you for coming up. I appreciate it. Sorry I'm not on the panel, but you can hear how I sound. I I sound like a cement mixer rolling off of a cliff. Yes, oh yes, Tainted. Like I said, because I got ones that the government sent us, and I'll do it tomorrow. Oh, okay, the U2 drummer. Oh, what was his name? The U2 drummer. Oh,
Here's the Edge, Bono, and shoot,
Clayton was the guitar player.
he was the bassist.
Yeah,
Yeah,
bassist.
the Edge was the guitarist.
Yeah, I can't think of who the drummer was. Yeah. Oh. Okay. Maybe the historian can look it up. Okay, because if I got to be on, historian needs to be on too. So, okay, guys, that was good. That was very good. Drummers were very good. So now,
Alrighty.
like I said, in no particular order, um, it's like pianists
Keyboardist.
and keyboard. They can, just play like piano only. They can play keyboard only, or they can mix them.
Yeah, I went with a varied group. It's funny, I could come up initially with more names of hard bop jazz piano players than a rock and roll keyboardist. I don't think the keyboard gets as much attention in rock as a genre, but I'd say my number 10, I'm going to start off with Steve Winwood. His work with Traffic, his work
Yeah.
before and after. Very solid player. Great songwriter, great player, So.
And then didn't he actually switch to guitar too when he did his solo stuff?
I think he played guitar as well.
But he's mostly known for
mostly a keyboardist, yeah. The Low Sparkle High Heel Boys is my favorite thing he ever created.
Yes.
It's just an amazing, epic, long song.
And that's the only Traffic one that I have.
Mm-hmm. Great album. Great song.
Yeah, that was
Mark,
a
what's
great
your number 10?
Elton John.
Right. I mean, he's a very skilled player in his own right. His playing gets overshadowed by his celebrity and his stage presence, but
A lot of
he's
it.
got some serious chops too. And yeah,
He's a really good player.
That's a good pick.
For rock and roll.
His mind, he didn't pop to mind, but I should have put him on my list. But my number 9 is Tony Banks from Genesis. I mean, if you've heard the song, I think it's called A Fifth of Firth. That's a great piano intro, and his chops can't be questioned.
Okay, yeah, because that's kind of old. Yeah, because that's kind of old song. That's when Peter Gabriel was with the band.
Right.
Okay, so Addie says, I love keyboard. I'm still in awe. One of my sons could play keyboard by ear. Wow, that's cool.
Errol Gardner was a famous jazz pianist who couldn't read music, and he played by ear. And there are a few piano players that couldn't read, but were great musicians and great players too. But that's a real handicap. I mean, it's hard to read, super hard to sight read on a guitar, but reading
Okay, goodbye,
is
Miss Tainted Love. Thank you for coming up.
essential.
Sorry that I'm not on the panel, but I'm sick.
Firth and fifth, yeah.
Yes,
Bopak
okay.
got it right. I inverted my fifths and firths. So looks like Mark's frozen here for a second. He might come back in just a moment to let us know what his 9th pick is.
Wow, SG, you were backstage with ZZ Top. Oh, that's cool. I actually, even though some of their later stuff was more popular, I liked some of their early stuff, like Tejas and what's the other one? Tres Hombres. Those are my two favorite ZZ Tops.
ZZ Top was so big in the 1980s, we forget that he was they were contemporaries of, Jimi Hendrix, and they recorded their first albums in the late 60s.
Yes, yes. And their original name of the band was the 13th Elevator, if you want to know that.
They were not destined to become famous as the 13th Elevator.
So, Survivor Girl says the Black Rose. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, Mark, so are you ready?
Yeah, Mark's connection is still, he's frozen. Hopefully.
Can you hear me okay?
Oh, we can hear you now.
Yeah, we can hear you.
What's your number
Okay.
9?
My number 9 is Richard Wright.
Which band did he play with?
Pink Floyd.
Pink Floyd,
Okay.
the piano player,
Yeah.
keyboardist. Again, he contributed so much over the years to the sound of Pink Floyd, and I think that a big part of this whole countdown that we're doing has got to be not only their technical ability to play, but also their writing abilities and their contributions to the rock and roll music that they created.
Mm-hmm. Keyboardists tend to be the arrangers for their band because they're the ones who know the most about music theory. They can read and write music the best in terms of the musical notation. So yeah, they get the lion's share of the burden for composition a lot of times. So you can judge them not just on their ability to play the keyboard, but their ability to arrange the song as well.
Because if you guys remember, you can go look back on my channel and my version of Dirty Diana.
Survivor Girl says, I partied with the Marshall Tucker Band. There you go.
No, Survivor Girl got around.
Yeah, they incorporated the flute. I mean, that's they and Jethro Tull were about the two bands I can conjure up from the 70s that had a flautist.
Yes.
So maybe a few others.
Flautist.
Alrighty, so I think we're up to my number 8.
Yes.
Another keyboardist who's not as well known, but certainly made a huge contribution, Chuck Leavell. He played with the Allman Brothers, he played with the Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
Just great playing. Great supporting.
And didn't he play with Little Feat too, I think?
I believe he did. Bill Payne was the main keyboardist for Little Feat, along with Lowell George himself. So they all took their turns at the keyboard. Chuck Leavell sat in with lots of different artists.
So
yeah, solid.
So Bopak says, yeah, I think that's true in many bands, for better or for worse. Yeah, about the keyboardists.
Yeah. So
good one, Chris.
See, Mark, who's your number 8?
There's a guy. He's not really well known unless you know your way around some of the albums. He found his way on a number of albums for like the Rolling Stones, the Who.
Hello, Coach.
His name is Nicky Hopkins, the Beatles, and he was more of a studio musician than a performer, although he did perform, and just a brilliant piano player.
Very good, very good. Yeah, the studio, well, the session players get forgotten, unfortunately, even though their technical abilities were probably greater than a lot of the keyboardists that we know. And they're greater because they played with so many different people and had to know how to play so many different kinds of music correctly. My number 7, he was known as the 5th Beatle. a great player in his own right. Billy Preston.
Oh yes. Oh
Really
my.
go around in circles. Just so many great songs. I mean, you gotta love someone who had an album titled "The Wildest Organ in Town." But
And then Billy Preston also did a lot of work with the Rolling Stones. He was on
Wow.
Goat's Head Soup a lot, and I think it was on Exile.
He had his own demons. He struggled. I mean, he had a tough life in a lot of ways, but his craft can't be denied. He was just an awesome keyboardist.
Bimbo, could you do me a favor?
Yes.
I want to get back on. Could you drop the link for me again, please?
Okay. Like I said, if you wonder why I'm not participating, it's because I'm sick. I got a cold, or I think I got some of that poison from that saber-toothed snail that I lost a fight with.
Say hello to Coach Isms.
Yes, yes, Mr. Coach, and had a good wrestling match last night. And if you were listening, you got to hear my crackly voice trying to help commentate. I didn't get much said, but oh, I don't want to laugh just because things I'll start coughing if I laugh.
Billy Powell. Who was? Gosh, who? Patty, who did Billy Powell play for? The name's familiar, but I'm just not finding the band that he's connected to.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Mark will be able to sign in here shortly. But we're at number 7 on the keyboard list.
Oh, yeah. Okay, Survivor. I saw Pink Floyd twice. That's it. Okay, yeah, Mark. Okay, because we can hear you. Oh, he was.
Leonard Skinner. I mean, the intro to Freebird has a great piano piece. Plays good, and Give Me 3 Steps. Great piano work there in that song too. I knew it was.
Yeah. See, and we all knew who he was, but
couldn't quite remember the band he was connected to.
Yeah, but my brain is all fuzzy with cold medicine.
Who are we talking about now?
Billy Powell was with Leonard Skinner. Okay, Mark, but your number what, Chris? 6?
Number 7.
7.
My number 7 is Mac Rebennack, also known as Dr. John.
Oh, okay.
Dr. John. Great stuff.
In my list, I'm putting down Dr. John. I'm not even going to try to spell Mac Rebennack.
He had his own sound. He kind of had that New Orleans sound, and it got adopted by so many other artists.
He was a piano player too. He played some really good rock and roll, rock and blues piano.
And didn't he want to get on the cover of the Rolling Stone?
Yep, that was his biggest hit. Kept getting richer, but couldn't get his picture on the cover of the Rolling Stone.
Thank you, Bopak. I still wrote down, Dr. John, because I would never know who the hell that was.
Dr. John. Well, what was the song that made the reference to brain salad surgery? Right place, wrong time. That's a great cut.
I don't think I ever heard that one.
In the right place.
Okay, I'm going to be backstage now, Bimbo, if you want to let me up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's see if we can wind up with 1 Mark Kropka or 2 Mark Kropkas.
There'll be one Mark Kropka left.
Okay. We're getting some reverb. We'll see.
And the other one you can eliminate.
See if you can bounce the right, the previous Mark Kropka. from the screen there.
Oh, I don't know how to do that.
Hello?
Yeah,
We can
Mark.
hear you. Yeah, that hello didn't have a reverb to it, so I think we can go forward. Mark has cloned himself. Alrighty. So I guess we're up to my number 6. My number 6, and again, this is a little cross genre, but he made such an important contribution. I don't think I could forbear. Stevie Wonder. I mean, amazing keyboardist and great artist. I thought he deserved a nod too, even if he's considered more R&B than rock and roll.
Very, very talented. Very talented.
I mean, because if I'd have done the list, I would have definitely had Stevie Wonder on there.
Yeah.
Close enough for rock and roll, counts for rock and roll. So.
Well, I mean, he had so many good songs. Superstition, and what's that one? Living Just Enough for the City.
Yeah.
There is a girl in Hometown, Mississippi. Yeah, but you don't want to hear me sing or talk. So.
Great stuff. Mark, what's your number 6?
John Lord from Deep Purple.
So
his contribution on the organ
to
rock and roll music can be undenied. I think that well, he was with Deep Purple for the longest time. I think he was one of the. I don't think he ever left the group, did he?
He was. I think he was one of the ones who was in like the first thing of Pink Floyd because they go through like, and they're called like they're called like Deep Purple Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 3.
That's right.
Mark 4.
That's right.
Yeah, because Deep Purple Mark 3 is when they had David Coverdale. And I refuse to listen to anything with David Coverdale.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Once David Coverdale joins your band, I think your band's jumped the shark.
Yeah.
You are officially a hair band. You will never recover. All righty, so I'm going to go up to my number 5. Again, you want to, I don't know if you want to call it a borderline call, but as an artist, he's too big and too well known and made too much of a contribution to be denied. Billy Joel.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the guy who wrote the Piano Man. It's still rock and roll to me. I mean, it's just great player, but you know, his personality and his celebrity kind of or kind of viewed as more important than his playing.
Golden Lady is
he's a great player.
Song.
I mean, Billy Joel's a great piano player. So.
Survivor says, I love Dr. Hook. Yeah, but I don't have anything by Dr. Hook, though, believe it or not.
Let's see, Mark, what's your number 5?
Keith Emerson from Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
Yes.
Technically, there was no other. He could do with his left hand whatever his right hand wasn't doing, and he could do 2 completely different things with each hand at the same time. He was speaking as a keyboardist and aspiring keyboardist anyways. I think I can really relate to some of the riffs that he used to do, and I just really admire his playing.
I do too. He's a little higher on my list, but yeah, great player. And think about how much more a bigger part of keyboards was in ELP as compared to these other bands. It was really a lead instrument in ELP in a way that it wasn't in these other bands. But yeah.
Except on Love Beach, which we
No,
need to do. Oh, we need
you
to
have
do.
to forgive us
Oh, we
for
need to
having
do
a
a show.
disco
We have to
album
do
back in
10
the
worst
disco
albums of all
era.
time.
You know, that's a transgression we just need to forgive. We forgive the Grateful Dead for Shakedown Street.
Yeah.
They all had to do a disco album back then, so we'll just they get a mulligan for the disco album.
I don't know, but they were, oh my God, but they were in the Bahamas, standing there looking like the Bee Gees with their shirts open and the sunset going on it.
The A&R guy said, "This is what you need to do to make a hit. This is going to be your comeback album. We're
Well,
going to dress you up like the Bee Gees. You're going to look snappy. It'll be great. Trust me."
I don't think it worked.
No, an album that will live in infamy. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and forge ahead with my number 4. And I wanted to give him the nod. He's certainly the artist that goes the furthest back in the list. Jerry Lee Lewis.
Ah,
I mean, he was such a great player, and his
goodness
career.
gracious.
And you know what? I never even would have thought to put him on the list. I don't know why.
Well, he was the early rock and roll piano player. He was considered dangerous in his own time.
Yeah.
And then he married his cousin, and his career never really recovered from that. Although he did make he became a country artist after that. But you know, Great Balls of Fire alone solidified his reputation as a rock and roll piano player. So you know, had to give him the nod for my number 4.
My number 4, I'm going to choose, and I wish I could put him higher on the list, but there just isn't any room. Billy Powell from the Leonard Skinner Band.
Yeah, he was so great on Freebird and Give Me 3 Steps, and
All the fills that he did in all the songs, you know, he had his contributions, were all good, legitimate, good piano fills. He was a good, wholesome piano player. He knew his riffs and all the keys, and used them all. You know.
And he had a declarative style. He played hard. I mean, he pounded that piano. He hit the notes he needed to hit, but he didn't hit them softly. He just bam.
I know that's a style I've reluctantly adopted from him. That's the way I play too, and sometimes it's a bit of it's not a nice thing.
No,
well, it works for you or it doesn't. A Thelonious Monk was famous for his percussive style. I like his style of jazz, but a lot of jazz purists don't like his style for that reason. The piano is a percussion instrument. You know, you hit the keys, and the hammers hit the string. It's like a drum. It's a percussion instrument. So
it is.
I think you can't. I don't think it's necessarily right to blame piano players for being percussive.
Heavy-handed.
That's the nature. Well, if it fits the nature of the song, it's appropriate. And the piano is a percussion instrument, so you know that's a legitimate way to play the piano is hit those keys hard, get that driving hard force out of the notes. I mean, playing softly is important too, but you know, it's a percussion instrument.
I agree.
Alrighty, so I'm up to number 3, and he made his mark on the organ more than any other keyboard instrument, but Ray Manzarek from The Doors. Riders on the Storm. He was such a good keyboardist, they were able to carry their band without a bassist. I mean, he played he kept up with his bass on his left hand, and they were able to forego having a bassist in their band because he was a
That's
good
right.
enough organist to cover that. So
Which is not that easy to do. If you've ever tried it, it's not effectively. It's not that easy.
well, there's a reason why in jazz trios you have, you know, keyboardist, bassist, and a sax player, or keyboardist, bassist, drummer. I mean, it's that low end being supported on the bass helps the keyboardist out quite a bit. So you want that, but he was able to kind of play both roles. Riders on the Storm, great keyboards in that song, and
Yeah,
so
yeah.
many others. What's your number 3?
My number 3 is Chuck Leavell.
Yep, he was a great
Allman
player. He
Brothers
was my
piano
number 8,
player.
and you moved him up to number 3. What are
Now,
some of
what
your?
happened was Dwayne Allman died. And
Mhm.
what they decided to do was, instead of bringing on another guitarist to play against Dickie Betts,
Mhm.
what they would try and do is they would try and bring another piano player on, and that piano player would take a lead instrument and
Mhm.
play with Dickie Betts as the melody makers.
Interesting.
So they brought on Chuck Leavell, and they adapted a few songs accordingly. One of them that comes to mind that was written is a song called um, Jessica.
Right. Wow.
You heard that song before?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Anyways, Chuck Leavell wrote there's an iconic piano solo in that song, and that was written by Chuck Leavell.
I didn't know he wrote that. That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
He was able to contribute to the band that way. That's
Huge. He had a huge contribution.
outstanding.
Yeah.
I went with my number 2, Rick Wakeman from Yes. Just the atmospherics, and he brought so many different elements and angles into the band, so integral to their sound that, yeah, he was just astounding. I think I definitely have a prog rock slant on my list here, but
Yeah,
definitely.
see, it's not that easy to pick the keyboardist because there's so many different styles in the rock and roll genre that we could choose from. And
Mhm.
and then whether it's keyboardist synthesizer player, keyboardist piano player, keyboardist organ player.
It's a toughie. I mean, there's a lot of other artists I could have mentioned. My 3 honorable mentions were Mike Pender from the Moody Blues, Bill Payne from Little Feat, and
Right.
Pigpen McKernan from the Grateful Dead. They're
Nice.
all amazing artists in their own right and
Yep.
added a lot to their respective bands.
And I actually have the album. It's a double album where Rick Wakeman does a concert portraying like the journey to the center of the earth.
Oh, I got that.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. You want to listen to some prog? Oh,
Heavy duty story.
Sounds
Say
excellent.
that, and I also had Six Wives of Henry VIII.
yeah. Oh, Chris, and now that would be good to listen to when you're driving to work. Journey to the Center of the Earth, because it's just one long song.
Yep.
It is.
And I'm journeying closer to the center of Atlanta when I'm going, so
Yeah.
it would all tie together on that infamous Strode US 78. Nothing but red lights and shopping centers on left to the right.
Uh,
Kind of embodies the worst of America in one road, but it does what it needs to do, I suppose. Mark, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is Jan Hammer.
Yeah.
Oh,
all right.
wow. Yeah.
Yeah, nobody said her. Said him.
And that is an amazing earworm. You hear those 8-beat measures go out, and that song is going to ring in your head for the rest of the day until you
Yeah.
flush it out with something else. So,
Yeah,
what are
some
some?
of it can really stick. I really, the stuff that does it for me is anything that he did with Jeff Beck,
Mhm.
which was a lot. They did a lot of things together,
I
and
never,
I just thought he was brilliant. He just a brilliant player, technically.
yeah, I never knew that he played with Jeff Beck. I knew him as the guy who contributed to the Miami Vice soundtrack. Um,
Right. Yeah.
Very 80s, very synthy. So, but if you play with Jeff Beck, I mean, you got to have your bona fides to keep up with Jeff Beck. So, definitely
Yeah.
worth a listen.
Okay. Yeah, Survivor Girl, and I don't know. I don't know. You know, don't know everything, and I know even less because my head has, like a cloud of mist inside it. Hello, hot mess. How are you doing, dear?
I'm
Okay, so
missing.
you guys are at your final one, right?
We are at the number one pick, and my number one is a gentleman who's already been named. I gave my number one nod to Keith Emerson for all the reasons that were listed before, and yeah, his adaptations of different songs were absolutely astounding to me too. His adaptation of "Fanfare for the Common Man,"
Yeah.
"Hoedown."
Oh, which I love that song. Oh, that song is so corny, but it works so good.
Well, "Hoedown," he did well. Keith Emerson did something I never thought any human being alive could ever do. He managed to work in the turkey and the straw in the middle of a song, and it worked. Listen to listen to Hoedown again and listen to that part of the song.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
I wish that the ice cream trucks that play Turkey in the Straw would play that version of Turkey in the Straw with the lasers blowing off. That would be astounding. But yeah, I think he's my greatest rock and roll keyboardist of all time. So, see, Mark, who did you give the number one nod to?
I gave it to Rick Wakeman.
There we go. Very, very, very close.
I can't help
Tough to pick.
deny him when he got listening to the song off the Fragile album, Roundabout, and the solo in Roundabout gets me every time.
I mean, the timing is so precise. How many times did they have to rehearse to get that just
I
on
know.
point? It boggles
All
the
right.
mind. Um,
They were tight, tight, tight.
right, and it's funny. I got Bill Bruford. I don't know if he was the drummer at that time for the band, but no, Fragile is one of my favorite albums from. Yes, I mean it was the early Yes album for me. So
Oh God, SG. Okay, Survivor Girl says Susan Day from the Partridge Family. She was pretty good on the keyboards. Oh, remember those episodes when she's playing keyboards? Oh, singing a long day with Danny playing bass and yeah, because the only one in the family who had any sort of musical talent was David Cassidy.
mhm. We were all instructed to come on, get happy.
Yeah, and
I
oh,
woke up in love this morning, went to sleep with you on my mind. That's all I remember.
Oh
thankfully,
gosh.
thankfully. Okay, so if I was making picks, guys that I would have put in would have been Billy Preston, Steve Winwood, Rick Wakeman, Keith Emerson, um, and John Lord, and I would have found somebody else, but
Billy Powell,
no, Peter Criss.
Peter Criss, for
From
drummer.
No, that's a jest.
okay.
Oh, surely.
That's a jest. Oh, however, though, the guy who did replace him, um, his name was Eric Carr, and
Mhm.
he was very good, but he died early. He had some sort of sickness or something, and he died only after like 2 albums. Oh, he was with.
Hmm.
And so now, Kiss has a drummer called Eric Singer, and Eric Singer has been around forever. He plays with a band called Avantasia. He's played with Iced Earth. He's played with a lot of people.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, trust me. Oh, Peter Criss would not have been on my. I would have rather picked Anton Fig than Peter Criss.
Anton Fig actually is a pretty good
Yes,
drummer.
yes, I know. That's why I said if because if I would have to rate, like Kiss drummers, Anton Fig would be higher than Peter Criss.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, guys. Well, like I said, I really don't feel good. I want to get back to sleep. I want to thank you, Mr. Chris, for coming in at the spur of the moment to help Mark. And like I said, I wanted to do this show because it was requested, by some of my listeners. And, I,
Well, kudos to you for sticking it out, Bimbo.
because I was talking to Jen earlier, and I really felt like crap. Now I feel better.
Yeah.
I
You get
feel
that stage health going, when you're on stage, you feel like you have the energy boost and you have to,
Yeah, you
you
think that's
finish
it?
the show because the show must go on. So,
Mrs. Hopkins. Let me see. Oh yes. Oh, see, and you guys don't know. Okay, you guys have heard of Nine Inch Nails.
hmm
Yep.
Yep.
Dave. Yeah, him, and the Dresden Dolls. Now that's a funky band. Amanda Palmer. Oh, you guys need to. And they already mentioned Ray Manzarek. Well, oh, Chris did. No,
hmm
yeah, oh, Chris did. Yeah, but the Dresden Dolls. Yes, Addie, take care because Marilyn Manson's drummer was Madonna Wayne Gacy. Yes, yes, he was. Oh, he was with the band um, for most of their albums. He was with them for a long time. Um, yeah, because I remember seeing Marilyn Manson down in Fort Lauderdale when it was actually just called Marilyn Manson and the Spooky Kids.
Mrs. Hopkins sure knows her stuff, eh?
Oh
I'm
yes,
just
oh yeah, yeah.
She knows
Okay,
more.
guys. What?
All right. Yeah, she
No, Chris. What?
Something knows more than I know about lighting because my camera kept being fuzzy this whole show, and then I turned on a side light, and then all of a sudden I'm in focus because I just didn't have enough lumens in the room to keep my face in focus on this particular camera. So
Oh yes, Jen. I've been drinking so much water. I think I lost like 8 pounds today, which is good.
yeah,
So
well, hope everyone who's feeling yucky gets to feeling better real soon. A
okay,
lot of that crap going
and like I always say, I want to thank everybody for taking the time to come on the show tonight. I'm sorry that I could not entertain you with, my numbskullery, but maybe it was better not to hear me and my stupid shit and just listen, to, two real, panelists.
We need the mistress of ceremonies. We need someone to bind it all together. You know, I tend to rebound against a lead more myself, so I like to serve
No,
and
but
volley.
but you guys did very good. I want to thank you, like I said, Chris, for coming on at like the spur of the moment, because I think I asked you to come on at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, wasn't it? Something like that.
So yeah, and it's like, ooh, let me come up with some names. But it was an interesting exploration, and nothing quite like a deadline to inspire creativity. So managed
Yeah, a
to
little bit of a challenge.
name. Yeah,
Okay, so
did the list justice.
um, I don't know if I'm going to do anything Wednesday. Probably not, because I have a long day at Wednesday. I've got training for a county job. Um, that's just a couple days, but Thursday I got training, and that's at 1 in the afternoon, and it's like a 2-hour drive, so I'll probably be tired. Remember, coming up next Saturday is our Beatles official College of Rock Knowledge show. We're going to do our favorite 12 Beatles songs, and then after that, we'll pick 5 songs by Beatles solo artists. And that's going to be hard because I could pick 5 Wing songs right off the bat. So,
No, that'll be difficult.
and I could pick like 3 or 4 George Harrison songs right off the bat. So, and anyway, and this show next Saturday was requested by Chris Bliss. You know him. So he promised he would come up. So hopefully he will. We
We'll
shall
do our
see.
best to get that before they're due.
Yeah. So, I, I would say I'm not going to do anything Wednesday. I'll do my wrestling picks like Thursday or Friday, but that's it. Okay, guys, good night. Again, thank you everybody for taking the time to watch me, and my 2 esteemed panelists. Again, you guys did a great job. Thank you, and good night.
Nighty night.
Everybody,
Sleep well.
Oh
hope
yeah,
you feel better.
I'm going right back to sleep now. I'm gonna take some cold and flu medicine.
You got anything good?
Cold and flu medicine.
Yeah,
I like to
anything
keep
good though?
I like to keep disinfecting from the inside out. Works for me.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. That's a
No,
good.
no, I'm not gonna drink alcohol.
Okay.
You know what I do sometimes? I do a double neocitrin. I take 2 packets of neocitrin, put it in a little bit of hot water, and then just chug that sucker back, and then just wait for that hum to come.
There you go.
Well, I guess that's what you do when you live in Canada.
I don't think I've ever heard of neocitrin. What is
No.
neo?
Oh, you
Is
never
it-
heard of it?
No.
It's hot lemon cold medicine
Mhm.
in a bag. It comes in little pouches, and you
I thought
empty
they,
it into
I thought
boiling
they called
water.
that cocaine.
If you added some vodka to it, would that make it a lemon drop?
If you add
Might
some
increase
vodka
the
to it,
effectiveness.
make it great.
Hmm.
Ugh.
Nice.
It would
All
make
right,
it
guys.
fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks again. Bye bye.
All righty. Bye.
Okay, bye everybody.